fish come in a wide range of diverse forms and sizes. Certain fish species, particularly those we consume, tend to be small in size and always make for an easy catch. However, a handful of extraordinarily massive fish often give fishermen a run for their money, setting the scene of how fishermen clash with the unfathomable might of the deep blue sea. Today, we unravel some of those extraordinary moments when humans have triumphed over nature's most majestic and elusive creatures, from ferocious sharks to colossal bluefin tuna and gargantuan marlins. Did I not call that? From 100, these 20 biggest catches of all time pushed the boundaries of human strength and endurance. Join us as we take a look at 15, the biggest catches of all time. Number 15. Yellowfin tuna in the underwater world. Everyone agrees that people really like tuna. People from all over the world are so happy when they see this fish, and for some folks who enjoy fishing, catching a tuna is like finding a treasure. Eating it is like having a special treat. Now let's go back to the year 2012 to talk about a fisherman named John Petruscu. He went on a very special fishing trip, hoping to catch something amazing. But to his surprise, he had no idea that he would end up catching the biggest yellowfin tuna ever caught using a fishing rod. When he finally managed to pull the fish in, it weighed an incredible 445 pounds, which is more than 17 pounds heavier than the previous record holder. Despite being an incredible achievement, it did not become an official world record. It was disqualified because a crew member had assisted John in handling the fish by holding the fishing rod. Rules and lawyers can sometimes ruin some great things. But still, the fish is one of only 4 cases where fishermen have caught yellowfin tuna that weighed over 400 pounds, making it a remarkable achievement. Number 14. A bull shark. Now, many people fear great white sharks and others that seem to be dangerous. But you should know that bull sharks cause the most shark attacks on humans. These scary creatures are often found in warm waters and can swim long distances. They're not really picky about where they swim, whether it be the ocean, a place where the rivers meet the sea, or even a river itself. Bull sharks are called Zambezi sharks because they often go to the Zambezi River to get some food. In 2009, scientists measured the biggest bull shark ever caught during a survey in the Breed Estuary. This huge female shark was a whopping 4 meters long. I can't tell you how big the teeth were, but I wouldn't want to find out by poking around. The research team put a tag on the shark, let her go, and then watched what she did for a few days. What they found was really scary. The shark took a short trip out to sea, but lazily watched boats on the river most of the time, and fishermen on the shore. It seemed as though she was studying them as potential food. Maybe she was even making notes on the best places to eat along the river. Not just for a helpful guidebook. Number 13. The Goliath Grouper. A bunch of fishermen went out on the waters of Florida with one clear goal: to catch a giant Goliath grouper and then let it go. Now, I don't know why they wanted to do that, and honestly, I don't know enough to even guess. But maybe it had something to do with alcohol. They knew their boat weighed 550 pounds, so they searched for an enormous grouper, and sure enough, they found one. The weird-looking giant is believed to weigh between 600 and 800 pounds, which is even heavier than the boat. But I'll tell you, it does look really strange. The Goliath Grouper looks like a fish that could have been made in some fancy Hollywood studio, but it is actually real. And for some reason, the fishermen were really excited about finding one that could make even their own boat tip over. Number 12. A living dinosaur. Recently, fishermen caught a really big living creature that was unbelievably huge and measured about 10.5 feet long. Some people said it looked like a dinosaur that was alive, but that might be too much. This enormous fish is definitely impressive and really big, but it's also believed to only be about 100 years old. So, it's not really from the time of the dinosaurs when they lived and had their super old birthdays. People do tend to make things sound a lot more exciting than they should be, but it's also fair to say that the fish is both old and big, stretching out to a length of 10.5 feet and weighing around 500 to 600 pounds. The fish turned out to be a gigantic sturgeon that was caught by a man in British Columbia, Canada. Its size was surprising and helped everyone understand how old the fish actually was. Maybe its size was because of the pollution in the water that caused some kind of changes, but that's probably only something you'd read about in a comic book. For people who do love fishing, catching this fish is really special and a once-in-a-lifetime experience, even if it wasn't exactly what the fisherman wanted to find. Number 11. Giant Whiptail Stingray. No matter what job you may have, it's a simple fact that scientists get really excited about breaking world records. They tend to always have a strong desire to do something better than before, and sometimes they actually succeed. In 2015, scientists working on the Mekong River in Thailand made an amazing discovery. They found a really big stingray that they believe could be the largest freshwater fish ever seen. Of course, there are many people who would argue about all those world records, especially those who catch fish themselves. But let's consider the facts. The fish was huge, measuring a whopping 7.9 feet wide, 14 feet long, and weighed an estimated 700 to 800 pounds. It's hard to deny that the fish was really big. Scientists took tiny samples of its genes, carefully measuring and identifying it. It was so big, in fact, that experts who helped with its recovery gave it a funny nickname, the Big One. The ray was caught in about 65 feet of water and put back into the water shortly afterwards. Scientists understand that you don't have to hurt innocent animals just to win some world records. They may not be great at coming up with funny names, but they sure do know how to care for animals. Number 10. New world record pike in Bulgaria. Fishermen are breaking records left and right when it comes to pike. One fisherman, by the name of Peter Filipov, an excited angler from Bulgaria, had caught some pretty big fish before. But this time around, he encountered one that broke all of his previous achievements. In fact, it was so big that it actually beat the existing world record by a long shot. The massive pike was caught, reeled in using a fishing rod. It weighed an incredible, hefty 25.3 kilograms and measured 140 centimeters. According to the amazing Bulgarian angler, he used large lures and fished in completely new places he had never tried before. He particularly liked fishing in big holes and eventually caught this monster pike in a lake that had undergone some significant changes. He noticed that there were no longer any small fish, which would be a clear sign that a massive fish was in there somewhere, devouring everything in sight. And in the end, he would turn out to be correct. There was indeed a gigantic pike in that lake, and he caught it on that day. Number 9. Giant king salmon. Statistics say that, on average, a person around the world weighs anywhere from 130 to 180 pounds. But there's something interesting in that fact. A fish called the king salmon holds the world record for being the biggest catch, weighing 97 pounds. That's bigger than most children. This fish is heavier than some people, and it was caught by a man named Les Anderson in Alaska back in 1985. The king salmon is highly valued and considered to be a special catch in Alaskan waters. When he caught the enormous fish, Les Anderson was fishing in the Kenai River. The Kenai River was well known for its large king salmon at that time, although it was most famous for smaller ones. But this one was actually unique, and it was a huge fish, measuring 5 feet long. It was probably even bigger when Les caught the fish, but they had to put it on a truck to weigh it. Unfortunately, it would be a hot day in Alaska, and the fish had to endure 7 hours in the scorching sun. Can you imagine how difficult that must have been? Fish like this are quite rare, and it's pretty unbelievable to catch one that likely weighs more than most kids. That's when nature shows its immense power, cannot be controlled. Number 8. 13-foot Long Hammerhead. A few years ago, some fishermen from Florida became famous on the television news. They had a really cool experience while fishing near Sandoval Island in Florida. The lucky guys had caught a 13-foot long hammerhead shark. The fishermen used stingrays as bait, which happens to be the hammerhead's favorite food. They had hoped to catch something big, but never thought they would catch such a huge shark. When they realized what they had caught, they were very surprised and could not believe their luck. The hammerhead had taken the fishing line about 200 yards from the shore, so the men had to struggle with the big shark for over 30 minutes to bring it closer to the beach. They wanted to get a good look at the impressive catch and take some pictures so that they could remember the moment. Once they had their great photos, they then decided to let the shark go back into the sea and were amazed by its strong power. They enjoyed their special close experience with the beautiful creature. However, that shark didn't seem too happy about the unexpected trip to the beach. But it's safe to say that it preferred the ocean rather than the dry land. Number 7. The Warsaw Grouper. Determining how old a fish is can be pretty difficult. It's not something that could be easily explained in a few seconds. But there are some experts who can do it, and they're probably right. Back in 2020, a really big Warsaw Grouper, weighing 350 pounds, was caught off the coast of southwest Florida using a hook and line. Scientists who then went on to study the fish would say that it was around 50 years old. Now, that doesn't mean that the grouper was going through a midlife crisis, but it does mean that it's the oldest fish that they had found for their aging program. It's not surprising that a 50-year-old, 350-pound fish would make the news. Because if you look at any average day's news, you'll see something or someone of the same age and weight on the front page. Number 6. World record paddlefish in Oklahoma. A big paddlefish would be caught that weighed 164 pounds. It was so huge that it broke the state record and the world record for this kind of fish. The fortunate person who caught it was Grant Rader from Wichita, Kansas. He was super excited to catch the huge paddlefish and get a place in the record books. Paddlefish are very old fish because they haven't changed much since first appearing in fossil records 120 to 125 million years ago during the time of early crustaceans. But even though they've been around for such a long time, these fish have faced problems. It's not surprising because people catching too many of them and destroying their habitats are putting their survival at risk. Number 5. Monster tiger shark. The tiger shark is usually the one who hunts, but sometimes people do accidentally catch really big tiger sharks. People might also go after them to get trophies, or because they want revenge. Tiger sharks are some of the most dangerous and scary sharks in the world, and they rank right up there with the great white. In Australia, tiger sharks are known to often attack surfers, and these creatures are almost endangered because people have been hunting them down for trophies and fishing them in quite abundance in recent years. The biggest tiger sharks ever caught were measured in at 5 meters long. There are some crazy stories about them, like the one about a fisherman named Matthew who had supposedly caught a huge tiger shark off the coast of Byron Bay in Australia in 2015. The story became really popular on the internet. He said that he had caught the big shark as it had eaten a smaller hammerhead shark while he was trying to catch that. No matter what the story may be, it is a good one and a very large shark. Number 4. Bluefin Tuna. How much would you pay for tuna from a Tokyo fish market? Let's say that it costs you $30. But what if I told you that someone had actually paid a shocking $3.1 million for a tuna? It is true. A Japanese restaurant owner has paid a record $3.1 million for a single Pacific bluefin tuna at the famous Tokyo fish market. There was an auction for a special type of tuna called the Pacific bluefin. This was not just any ordinary old fish. It was a very unique tuna. And in 2019, before sunrise, a big bluefin that weighed 612 pounds would be put up for bidding, causing fierce competition amongst the top players in Tokyo's fish industry. I know it may sound like a joke or some cheesy movie, but it really did happen. In the end, the owner of a chain of popular sushi restaurants ended up paying an unimaginable amount of money to win and own this valuable yet endangered fish. Now, let's face the truth. Japan really does love fish and tuna and eats more of it than any other country in the world. Unfortunately, this high demand has led to too much fishing, and the bluefin tuna is at risk of disappearing. But buying one huge fish is not going to solve that problem. I doubt a sushi mogul would even be interested in dealing with the issue. This is just another way for them to show off their wealth and claim a prestigious prize. Number 3. A striped bass. For many families, nothing is more important than going on a nice trip out on the water to catch something. What you catch exactly is a whole different story, but it's definitely enjoyable to sit on the water and struggle with a fish, even if you end up throwing it back in the end. The Smedley family is one of many families that has been fishing in the same bay for many years. They've been successful in catching numerous fish weighing over 40 and 50 pounds. However, the elusive 60-pounders have always managed to escape being caught. But then, their youngest son decided to give fishing a try. He turned out to be the first in the family to catch a 60-pound fish, a striped bass, and a really big one at that. Now that's not bad at all for a first catch, you have to admit. Fishing can be a challenging sport, even under the best of circumstances. But it's always heartwarming to hear about families working together to catch some of the world's largest fish. Perhaps next time, the kid may aim for one of those 1,500 pounders and kick it into high gear. Number 2. Alligator Gar. If you're anything like me, and you don't have a whole lot of knowledge about the alligator gar, then you probably don't know much about this fish. This particular fish is extremely long and thin and is one of the largest freshwater fish in North America. Surprisingly, it's gained popularity amongst fishermen who share their adventures on YouTube. Recently, a group of these fishermen decided to embark on a trip to find the elusive alligator gar. To their astonishment, the skilled and experienced fishermen managed to catch the most enormous alligator gar that they'd ever seen. And let me assure you, every single one of them is highly knowledgeable and professional in fishing. The incredible fish they captured weighed a staggering 230 pounds and measured a remarkable 92 inches in length. It is a truly extraordinary occurrence for alligator gars. Number 1. Mahi Mahi. Some people have given up much time to catch a really big fish, and I'll tell you about this guy named Jeff Wright who did something really amazing. In just 25 minutes, Jeff really enjoyed fishing and was on the ocean near Ocean City, Maryland. He had a strong desire to catch a fish that would provide him with a real challenge. He quickly realized that this was not an ordinary catch because he struggled with his fishing line, and it turned out to be an incredibly large fish known as the Mahi Mahi. After a long and intense struggle, he finally managed to bring it in. The fish weighed an astonishing 72.8 pounds. This would break the record for the heaviest Mahi Mahi ever caught in Maryland. And what's even more incredible is that Jeff was only practicing for a mile in competition. He was completely surprised by this unexpected accomplishment. What's the biggest fish that you've ever caught? Be sure to let me know in the comments section down below, and I'll see you next time.